I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting to kind of bring back a culture of actually doing things. It feels like there's real pushback to the laser eye movement, which is good. It feels like there's some kind of organic return of builder culture, which is definitely a positive sign to see.
Ordinals, 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 Ordinals. I'ma make history, baby. Got long descriptions, my baby. You think you vibing, but you ain't describing. That sound like a miss to me, baby. It ain't a mystery, dog. I weigh the risk of reward. Ordinal pixels is dropping, the Bitcoin is popping, the tokens galore. Stop 10K, stop 100K. You ain't got none of them. It's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be a long night. Might be a long flight. If I see SB, if it didn't on sight, I'ma put it on Toshi. I'ma put it on Naka. Then just put it on Testnet. We gon' put it on Blocker. Yeah, we doing it proper. Shout out to you. Shout out to everyone that's dropping Ordinals on their computer. Road to 1 million. Yeah. Ordinals, 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 Ordinals. Shout out Baby Spot, shout out Udi, Tackle Wizards, Ordinal Faces, Pod Bones, On-Chain Monkey Danny, Frank, CK, D-God, I see you, Billy, what's up, Ordinal Shards, Bitcoin Shrooms, Pixel Pepes, it's too many to name it, I'm out.
I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting to kind of bring back a culture of actually doing things. It feels like I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting. I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting. I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting. I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting. I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting. I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting. I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting. I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting. I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals that are starting. I definitely see signs of hope now that, we have see signs of hope now that, we have Ordinals.
Hey, so welcome back to another episode of the Audionals show. That was just showing you a little bit of what Ordinals is all about, sort of recycling, reusing on-chain or chain-linked assets to create new music in a new musical landscape that puts the creator at the center. So yeah, very exciting stuff. So thanks for joining again. The Audional show is brought to you by Bitcoin Live, kind enough to give us time to play some on-chain music as part of their platform. very grateful to be part of the group that they have been working so hard to create lots of amazing content. And in fact, they've actually got a new sponsor called Shield Folio, and also they are doing a big giveaway for Christmas, which I'm just trying to find the image here, which I saved somewhere. Oh, there it is. So yeah, these Bitcoin Live are doing this giveaway over Christmas, and so you should definitely follow up on this with follow Bitcoin Live, get involved with these guys, because they are going to be at the very forefront of content when it comes to what's happening on Bitcoin. I've no doubt they are just perfectly positioned with the most amazing content providers. Again, I'm quite it's really amazing to be considered by them to be part of this group, because the group of creators that they have putting out alpha and just amazing content on Bitcoin is next level. So you should definitely get stuck into Bitcoin Live and watch more of their shows. So yeah, I was going to have another chat with some people today, but I'm still struggling to work out how to do the sound, getting sound from the web into Discord, where I can chat with people, and then getting that with my microphone here, this guy, getting that back into OBS to be broadcast to the stream, is just blowing my mind a bit. There's just so many so many pathways to send this stuff. I think it's just I keep thinking I'm going to manage it, and then I have about 2 hours of steam coming out of my ears, and then here I am again on my own. But Justin Blends is about. He I was hoping I was going to join him in the Discord. My kind of plan today was to try to go through the sequencer to show everyone kind of what is going on with this crazy thing that I've built here, so that more people understand how it works, I guess, because it's I guess a bit overwhelming, especially if someone hasn't used a sequencer before. But actually, I've built this to be super simple. It's really not got a lot of there's not a lot going on there, other than the ability to find a piece of audio content on the blockchain, and there are other options. You can also do it with IPFS, but I'm also looking into some sort of more permanent Web3 storage solutions. But eventually I'm hoping that we're going to end up with this entire production suite, like a DAW plus, really, because it's like everything, the entire musical journey can all happen within this collection of recursively accessed audio and audio processing digital software. So we can recreate a DAW type environment, but where every single aspect of it is accountable, linked to a wallet, linked to a payment channel on Bitcoin. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to do tonight. I was going to do it with Justin, but I think because I haven't quite figured this sound stuff out, I might jump into Discord shortly just for a bit of a chat with Justin, see if he's had a little play with it, because I'm really looking forward to just hearing what some people can come up with here, because again, it really is super simple to just find a piece of music that you like, combined with some sounds that you like, and then use the Audional Sequencer to resequence, to edit, to trim down, select very specific little samples from a larger piece, and resync them into songs, but then also those samples that you've created once you've trimmed them down and sort of topped and tailed them, other people can also then copy your settings and they can now resample what you've already resampled. That's there is an off-chain version of this and there's an on-chain version of this, and the two are completely interchangeable. It's up to you when you register your interest in a sample. You know, if you actually inscribe the instructions that you've applied to this sample to resample it, and then when someone effectively forks your version of that audio, you become part of that Merkle tree, just as the original sample owner, who is effectively called every single time that sample is accessed because the sample is played from that original song. And now you, as someone who's put some effects on it and has trimmed or resampled a section of that original song, and now the chain continues on down the line. So I'm just going to play a little bit more music, see if I can dial in with Justin, and then we'll have a chat, and I guess kind of take it from there. But yeah, there's so much cool stuff already on chain, so I don't know how many people have sort of trawled through all the audio that exists on chain. Obviously, with the fees as high as they are now, it's out of the question that no one's really actually putting on any audio. I had a look today, and for the first time I couldn't, there was nothing more recent than last week, the last piece of playable audio that I found. I'd already found last week, so there's nothing, it's just become too expensive. But this is where we have an opportunity now to take what's already on there, and there are some high quality samples, and don't forget we can also synthesizers and other plugins. These things are when compressed and minified, the code, they're 1 or 2 kilobytes really to make some awesome sounds, which can then, again, they don't really exist as audio, they exist as instructions to trigger an on-chain synthesizer or sound module, but they can be pulled into a song in exactly the same way as we can pull in these audio samples in Ordinals. So stay tuned, there's going to be a lot more music coming up, both now here and on chain in the future. So let's see what I've got next. That's 3 seconds, I don't know why that's there, but I'll play anyway. We'll have a listen to some songs, and I will see if Justin is there, and speak to you shortly.
Thank you, Satoshi, whoever you are. Girls want for your money.
my goals. Like, I invented and created this program that releases blocks of Bitcoin over time.
Bitcoin. It's ingenious.
Yeah, I'm God certified, but the business is bonds diversified. We up in our percentages. I'm with Skrilla and my dog Vader in Las Vegas, chopping up game with the odds makers. Paid the cost to be the boss, it ain't involved paper. On my own production means, so my margin greater. Income tax dodger / job creator. Truck in the water, pushing lines like Lawrence Taylor. Box stacking like Jenga, I'm a market shaker. Commissaries to field, lawyers on retainer. Can't comprehend these grown kindergarten gangsters. Affiliation chasing niggas bears no relation. The family grown holy, it ain't lonely at the tip top, yeah. I need extra guacamole on my chip. I'm looking for a raise, I'm potent through the zip. Niggas selling whoops a days. Some all-star seasons past the rookie phase. I need half the booking fee before I cook the stage. My rider got to cover cushion, octopus fillets. 10 gauge, knock a squad off board like 10 books in spades, niggas. Yeah.
Hand-to-hand sales on the block, came and went, and now I do it peer-to-peer on the blockchain, getting down. I got my rare squares, never tangled, flip them like bricks, stretch them into rectangles, and build in a basic pattern. Hasbro, it's all held together by the gas, bro. I have a load of these tokens, he's coming up, some in lumps, under 5 others in a pump and dump. What a jerk, you're retarded. I hear it and I laugh as I subvert the market. Rebellion is a given, it should be no shock. Regulated goods shipped to my P.O. box from an anonymous accomplice. We live beyond this, in tunnels of exchanges and quick responses. So Mr. Government, we're coming, you ain't running shit around here, we're shutting you down.
Go on. Go on. Go on. Go on about blockchain.
Okay, so let's see if I've managed to plug in all the right connections here. I'm just going to jump in to the Discord here. You guys in here? Can you hear me? I can see that you are both in here. But can you hear me? Can you respond? I may have to go back, play a few more tunes, and keep working on this. I can see that Justin is unmuted, and Justin is like an absolute veteran with this stuff. So if we can't hear Justin, it's definitely because of something I'm doing wrong. But let me chuck a bit more music on. We may just suddenly come to life in the middle of a tune, but yeah, let's just stick something else on for now, and I'll figure this out.
And there's a constant creation of these. Every 10 minutes. Instead of the money in your pocket losing value over time because the central government is diluting it, it's getting concentrated because more people want to use it than there's not enough around, so it gains value in your pocket. And that's a deflationary currency. Bitcoin. cryptocurrencies, but it's by far the most popular and the biggest.
Bitcoin is decentralized, meaning that its distribution and exchange aren't controlled or regulated by a government or other authority.
Because of the decentralized nature of not having a third party to ask permission in terms of you accessing or spending or sending your money, that's powerful. And then to be paid in Bitcoin and have it outweigh your salary, that's life-changing.
Not in generations has Wall Street absorbed the number of body blows it took today.
The world has gone mad and the system is broken.
The American financial system is rocked to its foundation as top Wall Street institutions topple under a mountain of debt.
Bailed out by taxpayers.
It's pretty clear they cannot be trusted.
He said, your problem is that you're trying to understand this as an economic story. Once you look at it as a crime story,
you'll get it.
The Fed is losing control once again. In just a couple of days, the U.S. Federal Reserve has pumped out $125 billion and handed that money over to commercial banks once again.
Buy low and sell high.
Put my faith in my money, help me rise above. Put my faith in my money, help me rise above. Put my faith in my money, help me rise above. Put my faith in my money, help me rise above.
You can't just keep being a tool of the globalist financial elite.
Put my faith in my money, help me rise above.
You are asking for the biggest bailout in the history of this country.
Rise above.
Which led to an age of populism, a deep distrust of Wall Street, and a near meltdown of the global economy.
By the biggest bankruptcy in U.S. history.
Everybody figured this out, and it's supposed to get it. Another disaster is waiting around the corner.
Chancellor on brink of second bailout for
Thanks.
Money markets will dry up around the world by the end of the week. ATMs will stop spitting bills. Federal deposit insurance will collapse. Banks will close. Mobs panic. It's going to be the end of the world, Bill.
turn it on.
I love that one. In fact, that was the end of all the contingency music that I had lined up. I still haven't got these guests in the Discord yet, but I think they are going to be there shortly. I'll still hold off. This is the song that I really wanted to start off the demonstration of the sequencer with, because there's this lovely bit in the middle where they it all breaks down to saying, I think it says the clap, and then something else. There's two parts. It breaks down. I think it's the clap and the snare. And I just wanted to go through that process of going into a blank canvas in the sequencer, opening up this song, pulling out those single hits of the awesome 808 claps and snare, and then showing how they can be then used in a new song, where attribution is guaranteed to the original owner of the original sample. But I might just play a little bit more music so that I can come back and have a chat with Justin and Nat, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. So there's a few more I've just very hastily lined up while we were playing then. Let's go to this guy. Okay. And yeah, let's have a listen to a few more.
This system is trying to fuck with my immunity with flu jabs, ingredients are unknown news to me. A question to the dogmas are classed as a lunacy, but I just wanna know my choice so I can be true to me. I wanna be civilized, fuck this uncivilized killing in the country, giving weapons to the victims to fight wars. Why cause more bloodshed, more death, more tears and more upset, Be the change I wanna see in the world. People are hungry in the country. Let's stop feeding the world. There's people bleeding in hell. It's like they're breeding in hell. Money powers people like they've been breeding with shell. They've been wanting to dig up Antarctica for the fossil fuel power of sun. I'm a solar powered alien through the sky. Weird unusual guy spreading love from the inside out. But I will fight if I have to. You got your own choice. Make your own choice. You got your own choice. So make your own choice. You got your own choice. Make your own choice. You got your own choice. So make your own choice. Yeah, I feel alienated when I think about stopping. The bombs dropping on the country, propaganda got us lost, my guts dropping. The pain breached, love stopping, guns popping, taught to play with army men, young fun chopping. But it ain't fun and games when a child's shot, dropping to the floor. No one's there to stop the coffin locking, empty cotter rocking, blood clotting in my arteries. Arrows fly across the top blocking. So please tell me that we are free. Freedom of speech or the freedom to breathe. The way I believe is respect. Equally him as if he is you and you are me. Who are we to end a conscious life for the power of greed to endow her and we? Cause we got our own choice and we made it. Yes we have. Yeah, we got our own choice and we made it. We make the bed and lay in there. We got our own choice, so make your own choice. You got your own choice, so make your own choice. You got your own choice, yeah, make your own choice. You got your own choice, so make your own choice. I've had enough of these people taking over the world. They've had enough of people like me spreading the word. Because I believe like others on the planet, the truth should be heard. The fate of the planet should not be rehearsed like this verse. I'm just speaking up. I'm just speaking up. Speaking up. I'm just speaking up. I'm just speaking up.
Yeah, that's another good example as well, actually, to have a little play with when I demo the sequencer, because we can have a little play with sticking those together to see how seamlessly the sequencer will put them together. Still no signs of life in the Discord there, so I might just start mucking about with the sequencer then. Where is it? So many pages here. Right, okay. Into the sequencer. And I bet there's loads of shortcuts in this OBS that I haven't learnt. Okay. So one of the things I was going to show, so let's if we go to a blank canvas, so when the sequencer first loads, this load button's flashing just because I thought it just at least should prompt people who are just looking at this thing going, what the hell is this? If you click load, it brings up a few basic presets that I've put in. I'll really fill this out soon, and I've got a couple of artists working on some presets that will load as songs, but also 16 sets of cool samples that can be resampled. But so, you know, this is the song that I started, that I loaded with, sorry, that I started the show with. Cutting up lots of the Vitalik song, so you know you've got the whole Vitalik song, the Vitalik talk.
I definitely see
here, and then I've got the one here where he just says, sorry, I clicked the wrong one, where he just says Ordinals.
Ordinals.
He does kind of, it sounds like he sings that, and it's in tune with the music. But anyway, yeah. So when you first load it, you get this load button, just because it'll get some people, trigger some people into loading these presets, and they can just start playing. But if you're just starting from a blank sheet, you know, where do you go? And I think the best thing is probably to go to the Hero Explorer. And search the audio. So you can, yeah, you can search for just audio inscriptions here. As you can see, there's not a lot, beyond 49 million. We've got, this is the last playable one, which, like I said earlier, I was kind of disappointed there's nothing else playable on here. such an eclectic mix of stuff that's on here. But yeah, that's the last one that I can play. 45. Oh, it's very close to the 45 million, isn't it? It's an interesting number. Wow. Yeah, 45 million, 2025. But yeah, so this is a good way to kind of just audition stuff, you know, if you're looking for something to kind of throw into a composition. What's this?
A forgotten tome of unimaginable power is said to harbor a corrupted universe. The Eight, the unending wealth, is sealed within the pages of this tome. The only way to harvest its power is from within. Those who dare to embark on this ominous journey are said to have their souls forever corrupted in an unending state of hunger for wealth. The reckless ones who opened the tome are now known as the Apostles of Greed, trapped among the pages of this unholy manuscript. A dark future, indeed.
That's I don't know what that's got to do with, but that must be something to do with a game. You know, anyone who thinks that this stuff isn't going to be a massive part of gaming has another thing coming, and that includes audio. You know, the stuff you can do by it with using programmatic assembly, which is the sort of thing that I'm talking about doing here to create new music. This is something that in games creates very interesting new ways of playing with audio. It used to be that maybe you had a soundtrack that kind of evolved as you moved through a game, but now you can have like a true evolution of a soundtrack, you know, because the soundtrack itself is a programmatic assembly of sounds that can be changed or moved, you know, down to every single individual trigger of a drum, or the EQ of the drum, or the reverb on something. You know, these things can all be changed in the most amazing, like microtransaction like movements. So you really could in a game without too much you know, work, create songs that truly evolve in just steps that you cannot almost see or hear as they're actually occurring, but they are occurring in real time. Super interesting stuff. So I think Nat is in the Discord, so I'm just looking for the Discord in here somewhere. There it is. Okay, so let's try this again, and I will see if I can have a chat with Nat and hopefully Justin. So I'm just going to unmute myself into here. Hey, Nat, you in here? Hello, hello?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Oh, now, I think I can see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Just give me a second. Monitor. Can I hear you now? Can you talk now?
Yo.
Hey, oh, you sound all like you're in a space echo. As much as I love a space echo, I mean, man, that's probably my favorite piece of analog kit I've ever had the pleasure of playing with. Just like the most, so fragile, but so amazing. How are you, dude? I'll just keep trying to figure this out for a second.
Yeah, I'm good.
What have you been up to? You've been doing lots of stuff lately, from what I've seen.
Too much bloody stuff. That's what. Too much bloody stuff. They're trying to wrap up a lot of stuff and get ready for what is to come in 2024. Yeah, that's it pretty much. Really, everything's going to kick off pretty early. The January seems pretty packed for Stacks London, for Coin Scrum, and then also this 2140 project that I was trying to talk to you about before. That's what I'm trying to get you and Dash onto.
What's the 2140 project? Oh, have I lost you now?
Yo, can you hear me? Yeah, sorry. So the 2140 project is a project that I'm working with, that they've basically created a lot of art from different artists around the world, and they're curating it all together to do an event in London at the Art Set Gallery on the 3rd of January. So they've got all of these different wooden sculptures and art pieces that have been made. You might have met one of the guys at Bitcoin Unleashed. He was walking around the Cypherpunk Manifesto, and they had it, you know, like all nicely chiseled and varnished into the wood.
Okay.
But yeah, he's actually got artists, 21 different artists from around the world to make these different pieces of wood carvings that when you put them all together, they make a larger picture. So there's stuff in there like Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, like, you know, Dorian Nakamoto, different art pieces. Again, that when you put them together, they create one bigger piece of art. And then they're also working on other things as well. So on the music side, like I've got another thing that I've kind of just launched, which is 2140art.com. I haven't launched it yet, so to speak, but that's going to be around music, art, music, money, and culture. So just putting everything basically together in the pot together.
Awesome.
So I've partnered with them, 2140, who is a completely different project, and I just had this 2140 art already sitting down as an idea.
Amazing.
You know, from about a year ago. So when we got talking, it was like, okay, look, we're doing this event on the 3rd of January where we're going to be flying as many pieces or as many artists as possible to put the picture together, and then they've got other artists showcasing down there. So in the daytime, it will be like all gallery, and in the evening, it will be talks and music and stuff like that. So
it's great when all the pieces fall into place like that.
Exactly. So yeah, I think he's been going on. He's like, yeah, you need to speak to Jim. I really like Jim's talk and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah. I'll talk to those guys. Don't worry, man. We'll definitely try and see if we can get them down. So yeah, bro.
When's the event? Sorry.
3rd of Jan, Bitcoin birthday.
3rd of Jan. Ah, of course, Bitcoin birthday. Where will I be on the 3rd of Jan? Hopefully, I'll be nursing a headache. I'd hope the kids let me have a big night on New Year's. What are you planning for New Year's?
That'll be the same as me, mate. That'll be the same as me. I've been obviously like firing off like the #1 album with them as well to quite a lot of places, because I've been meeting up with them, you know, different places. So I've been firing that off.
This is something else that I was looking to, you know, I've been really trying to uncover this, you know, what's going on with this Arweave stuff, because the other option that I've got, I've created a smart contract on Stacks so that you can inscribe the audio which can be pulled into the sequencer, and then you can recursively still pull that in from IPFS to do interesting things like kind of remixing a song, you know, having the stems that you can pull in different stems, and then you can sort of set the volumes or set which stems you're using, even move the positioning of the stems, you know. So it's it'd be a really interesting sort of first sort of project for getting people into the Audional platform, is the idea of, like, you know, remixing in this new landscape where attribution is just a given, which is you know, something pretty amazing to be kind of considering might be possible soon with all this new technology.
Yeah, exactly. And given this kind of STX20 thing that's been going on, I was saying to like the guys the other night in the Twitch spaces that, you know, when will we see this kind of level of hackery happen with Gaia? You know, probably not until maybe post Nakamoto, but I'm hoping that somebody's sitting there going, how do we get Gaia to be, you know, more efficient? Or how can we do some hack and crack with Gaia to get it to be kind of like where it's envisioned to be?
This is what the conversation last week or the week before was kind of looking to really delve into. I'm still hoping to get Frege and Leo Pradell to come and chat about it, because I know that Siegel have moved to, or Frege told me Siegel have moved over to a new kind of data platform called Ceramic, which I hadn't heard of before, so I'd love to know more about that. But Gaia was something that we were working on this is number one on stacks in pre mainnet. You know, when we were making plans for the first NFTs back in 2020. You know, Gaia was the thing that our dev, Mike Cohen, who's one of the core stacks developers, you know, has been involved with Blockstack projects right from around 2015 or 2016. Yeah, you know, Mike is someone who's incredibly knowledgeable, and he was dead set that Gaia was what we should be looking at. But then we ended up going down IPFS route because I think there wasn't the support there. We needed it was so new, and so it was something that I never really got the proper tech lowdown on. We never really got deep on it. We ended up going, like I said, going with IPFS at that point. But yeah, I'd love to know more about Gaia and more about just what are the other options, because this is one of the biggest things for me right now. You know, looking at audio going on chain, there was a lot in the beginning and there's next to none now, because of, you know, the extreme fees, and we really need to be working out ways where we can take advantage of this using things like STX20, you know, like type things like this, where there's tiny little tokens that can exist either on a layer 2 or on a layer 1, but either way they are tiny. They are enough to link a Bitcoin wallet to partial ownership in, you know, a work of art, a collaborative work of art. But they're not so huge that their costs completely outweigh the benefits in any way, shape or form. You know, the idea of being able to distribute a song via Bitcoin wallets, for me, feels like the production cost can be no more than $1, really, because, you know, for it to compete with real world, I know there's the sort of degen stuff where people will, you know, do stuff where it's very limited edition, but for a kind of real distributing a song or an album on chain, you know, that cost, the cost has to be low because people want to distribute lots of music. But to be able to tie it to the chain, again, via either the actual main chain or via a layer, is huge. And to have that cut down in data to the point where even if it's on the main chain, like the Ordinal player, which will play a song or an album or an anthology, you know, whatever, it's all done recursively, but the actual player that someone owns and hits play on, that was around 150 or 180 bytes, which when the fees were low was around 4 cents or something was going to be the production cost, and now it is probably approaching, you know, I don't know, approaching $1, which is crazy now I think about it. But it's still, you know, competes with real world models, but as a pure peer-to-peer system with added benefits, as you know, Nat, with the way that this sort of reuse and attribution and all the rest of it is concerned.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things that I've been delving into a lot, I'm going to start writing a bit onto this as well, but I've been delving into the whole kind of like V for V side of things, like on, you know, what's happening on Lightning right about now. And it's very, very interesting. However, the one thing that I've realized is obviously you still got the pretty much centralized storage, right? You know, and that's the key problem across, you know, all parts of blockchain when it comes to like music, audio, video. It is really like, you know, you can do V for V and set up your own server, but obviously you're gonna that's the whole point, you know, you're gonna have to set up your own server or set up like an Amazon AWS or something like that, right? So it's very hard to be able to have that decentralized storage and then also have the space to put the audio, enough audio, you know, and then keep it there kind of like forever. It's just really, 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 really crazy. But yeah, like what I would say is that one thing that I'd say that on one side, right, like using like L1 or other L2 solutions such as Stacks and a counterparty and others, they're very good for storage, very good for smart contracting, very good for those things. But again, I'm not sure how much you delved into V4V stuff, but Lightning is like incredible when it comes to payments, like and streaming, let's say sats, yeah. You know, I've definitely seen that a lot of the platforms that are operating are really, really cool. They just need maybe some better UX, UI, and yeah, like the storage is the biggest thing for me. It's like, okay, but I'm still storing it centrally, you know. Even some of the
this is where we
the
need these
Nostr platforms are the same. You know,
Yeah.
you upload stuff to Nostr and it's going to a centralized server. So it's like, yeah, you know.
It's like either a centralized server or you've got things like IPFS where it relies on, you know, at least one, I mean, preferably lots, but it still relies on people like paying bills and pinning things. There's like ongoing maintenance, and that's the thing we kind of got rid of. That's what it sounds like. Arweave is doing, and I'm just interested to know, like, is that like a solution that Gaia can provide as well, where there's like, you know, Bitcoin just needs we need a data layer that has kind of that it just feels like it has the same guarantees, that there is an incentive for that data to be, for want of a better word, mined. Doesn't have to be a blockchain. It's just got to be that there is an incentive that we can all agree is never going to go away, in a way, because that's the beauty of Bitcoin, is that you know that mining will go on no matter what happens. The whole way it's stitched together is just so clever, so unique, that there are multiple parties all with matched incentives but all coming at it from different angles in this perfect mix, knowing that it'll just be like that forever, and we've got to find a data solution that's like that. And that was why I was interested in Arweave, because the idea is it's like that old analogy of if you throw a rock at a tree and you keep halving the distance, that you never actually get to the tree, and it feels like it's a version of that. You pay enough money now that as the cost of storage goes down, the cost that is removed from your initial payment is reduced over time until it can never get to zero. Looking at the cost, they're around 100 times less than Bitcoin. When I looked at them, they may be considerably more, like considerably cheaper compared to Bitcoin now. But already back, you know, we were looking at things like the number one album. You know, we've got 700 megabyte, incredible high definition music videos attached to these things, and how can we package these up so that we feel like the art and the content is just as indelible as the proof of ownership. You know, that's the kind of the ultimate aim, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and like you said, it's a bit of a funny one, right? Because there's lots of different. It's at the moment, it's like lots of people are providing solutions, but each solution has one thing missing from the other solution, and I get why a lot of people are going on Arweave.
100%.
You know, even the other day, like I was speaking to one of the guys on Twitter, Kane Mayfield, who he just put out an album on Counterparty. And I think he was saying that he used Arweave as well as a solution, because it was like, okay, cool, yeah, you could do all this other stuff, but all that other stuff is like, you know, you're either going to be spending a ton to get that same high quality, or, you know, you're going to have centralization problems anyway. So it's like, you know, might as well go with the one with the best incentive.
Yes. So, sorry, he felt Arweave did still have these issues?
Well, obviously, he still was like, oh yeah, well, you know, he noted that Arweave still pretty much centralized solution, but, you know, he's like, well, you got to have a way of being able to incentivize it, and Arweave again with incentivization is how I think they're kind of winning right about now.
How is it centralized, like in terms of the data storage? Like, I get how maybe the service might be centralized or access to it, but isn't the storage like...
Well, that's what he was saying. It's exactly the same thing that he was saying. He was saying that, you know, like the service is centralized, but like the data is, you know,
like if anyone can kind of take that fee, then that feels like that's decentralized. If like anyone on the network can go, I'm going to maintain the storage of this data because I'm going to get paid for it.
And I mean, Filecoin is another solution that is obviously similar thing again. You know, I'm trying to say to you, right? And I've seen that a lot of people like Jacob Ryan, he was building the that platform, as I said, Songs to Radio, which he had like, you know, thought about app chains and everything, like, you know, in his planning and his building and his development. But again, he's kind of like waiting for Nakamoto, and then at the same time he was thinking about the same thing, storage, and he's built like another thing now, which I think he created like these vaults, radio vaults they're called, you know, which are able to kind of lock in like your music so that you can work on it with, like, let's say legacy systems and, you know, Spotify, so on and so forth, and you would still be able to get royalties for those certain tunes because they'll be tied to the metadata in that particular contract that is then vaulted on Filecoin. Yeah, right. So he's done. I don't know if he's done it because when I spoke to him a couple of weeks back, he was saying that they were looking to launch really soon, and he's just been really just building quietly, like in the corner. So yeah, and I noticed that they do have Filecoin on there, but I said to him, look, mate, I haven't got like a Filecoin wallet, so I can't really connect it right about now and see how it all works. You know, I should say to you, like, so yeah, but Filecoin is definitely another
something worth investigating.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is the big thing now. It's kind of fun. This is it's the last sort of piece of the puzzle, because, you know, I feel like, again, any way that it can, even if it's done via layer 2s or whatever, a way of linking, just even if it's just literally tying a Bitcoin wallet back to a layer 2 to lay claim over data or over the way some data is used or whatever is the last piece of it. But it's just the data needs to be in the same sort of state, the same secure permanent state as the blockchains that are you know, identifying it. Or it's just not a solution, is it? It's just not the final solution until we can, I mean, there's a, you know, IPFS, we can put it on there, probably be there till the end of our days, but it still doesn't feel permanent.
Yeah, I get you, man, 100%. But yeah, like I said, I think the thing is, right, and again, this is just kind of taking a bit from what Kane was saying in what he did with that album, was just like, you know, you can either kind of go down this long road of just like, you know, discovering different solutions and waiting and trying to build a solution and all of these different things, or you can use what's there and, you know, continue on building, because it's not going to be like, you know, no one's going to be interested because it's on Arweave, or no one's going to be interested because it's on IPFS.
100%, man. I mean, we've got to like white label stuff, you know. It's like, you know, we've been looking for this ticketing solution for a while, and you know, for like comedy shows or a festival that my wife is putting on, and, you know, just at some point I was talking to the guys at Xverse actually about, you know, maybe getting involved and helping me build, you know, a kind of product that was either going to be a kind of something like attached to Xverse Wallet, or we never even got that far, because I suddenly started just getting that feeling like we've got to just white label this. This is like spending money to try to develop a product when you know that all the moving pieces are already out there as fully formed components that, when brought together under like the face of a white label website kind of thing, can offer this service. This, like we were looking at, you know, ticketing services. So a service where a ticket can be minted, if you want to put it that way, you know, minted by a customer, or minted from an artist, by a customer, but where like a box office can still be involved. They can still have the data they need, but now they get these extra controls. The artist can set some rules about how the tickets can be transferred and how they can be moved, and they maintain this amazing oversight over all the tickets, but also while not adding any friction into the experience for the customer, who just needs to be able to turn up quickly and easily, exchange their ticket for entry and get in. And so, but while we were sort of looking for these, trying to build these kind of platforms, it was just occurring to me, this was kind of just when I think Ordinals had kind of come along, and we had like BRC20. We also had the Stacks guys had, we had the BNS names, which has been around for a long time. But that was something, again, that kind of the Stacks community really was the first community to kind of really jump on board with the BNS names. How I managed to get Jim.btc. But yeah, it just feels good.
Yeah, we are most definitely early.
It's
We're almost
insane.
Definitely early.
And right now, it feels like Stacks is like, this is another case of the prophecy. It feels like to me. I mean, I've had, we know it's been a roller coaster for everybody, but for people who are building, particularly on the more creative side of Stacks, have had a hell of a winter to kind of weather out. But it feels like the kind of promise of a layer 2 that can tie so sort of organically to Bitcoin, and something that has cleared hurdles like SEC, licensing, all of that sort of stuff. It's all kind of, this is like the perfect storm. It always just takes so long. You have all these arguments about whether Bitcoin will catch on, whether companies will ever have, buy Bitcoin, whether countries will ever buy Bitcoin. Conversations that I had over the years, on repeat, in cycles, until eventually people started going, oh yeah, no, that has kind of happened. And I think that this is another kind of example of how everything sort of explodes in the short term, but in the long term, you have kind of the right solution. The right solution is sometimes there all along, but it's just not, falling victim to hype or, speeding up the process. It's just, it has a plan to do something in the right way, and it takes the time to do it. And I think that's what the Stacks network has done. But we'll see. I still don't actually know really, because I've just been head in the code for getting the sequencer sorted. What is this? What is the deal with SDX 20?
Well, it's supposed to be like, it's like stack scriptions, isn't it? So it's just basically using the same or similar way of being able to kind of put data into Stacks transactions by using the memo field, and the memo field then calls the JSON. So that's where it kind of is at the moment. It hasn't really got any further than that. It's just a case of now you can actually mint, a supply of tokens that a supply of tokens that are basically minted on a transaction. I shouldn't say to you, right? So it's only really, really fresh, really, really, really at the start of things. And there's a lot of hype obviously around it now. There's like even OTC trades going on and stuff like that. And talk of these being also listed on Alex and everything else. But it's fun, right? It's fun. It's a little bit of fun in between time, because I think everybody, again, in the ecosystem kind of sees it as, hey, we're having a bit of fun here, let's mess around with stacks, let's push stacks. It's obviously pushed the mempool like ridiculously crazy in stacks. Like I think it's like today there was like a 13,000 transaction block or something like that. So
that got mined.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, back when we were doing the hash ones, it was like 100 people trying to get something was enough to make the network flop. This is stress tests. It's just the nature of it, isn't it? It's like this is 100% part of just the evolution of a decentralized network. Is it has to go through all of these various stages. They're kind of becoming familiar to me now, having gone through several cycles with different, with Bitcoin, and then seeing Ethereum, and then stacks, and all these things. Seeing these different, how the network goes from being extremely centralized to, mostly decentralized, but with still central actors, to then the central actors not really being listened to anymore, and everything takes on its own all the development becomes asynchronous and all that sort of stuff. People start having their own plans, and then those plans start conflicting, and that's decentralized. That's when you're really decentralized, when you've got multiple people working with different ideas and sometimes disagreeing, but no one can stop anyone from doing what they want on the network. No one is listening to anyone. No one is a guiding force. The thing is just a asynchronous beast.
That's it.
And that's true decentralization. And that's what I think we've been sort of, seeing.
Well,
going
the
on
thing
in
is,
this.
the thing is, what I was laughing about when I saw that today, it was like, if we reach to that kind of like 24K transactions, going into a block, and they're starting to get pretty much faster. Right, the fees aren't that bad. It's like 0.75 stacks earlier on was pushing through pretty well. Yeah, if you were deploying like a token on that STX20 standard, right?
Okay.
But what we did see today, though, for the first time in the last 48, 72 hours, is average stacks transactions getting hit. And some people were saying that they were being hit from centralized exchanges. Some people are saying like, experts, and people prefer Lever because it works the fees differently. And so there's a big debate about kind of how now we tackle again this fee issue. But obviously but everybody is like, if we can really push things up and start to actually get blocks through still, then you can imagine what it's going to be like sub 5 second block times. And if we've got, let's say, sub 5 second block times, on sub 5 second block times, we only need to put through 100K transaction. But remember, like we're saying, 100K transactions needs to be there, isn't it, right? Yeah. But if we were to put through 100K transaction in under 5 seconds, 100K block, in under 5 seconds, then at that point, stacks would be faster than Visa and MasterCard. Yeah. So if you think about it now, like what it is now, and say, okay, 13,000, all right, fees are going up. But if we were to get to that anywhere near that 24K mark, and even see things moving as quickly, I'd say, as they are now with 13,000, because it's pretty quick, right? Like on 13,000. So for the fees anyway. So if we were to see that happen, then it's almost a given that if Nakamoto now really does achieve, this sub 5 second block times, that we are going to see that level of transacting. And if we're seeing that level of transacting with SBTC, then it's pretty much over at that point, because Lightning still has speed. But does that speed matter as much when already you could use your Bitcoin, at a speed higher than Bitcoin, than Visa and MasterCard, and also attach smart contracts to it?
So it basically creates like a very niche market for Lightning. It's still a market, like this thing Sparkshot that I think I showed you ages ago. It was another example of something that was just too far ahead of its time. They built this amazing art reveal platform where you used Lightning payments to reveal pixels, and so it was instantaneous. You know, as you made the payments, you could just see these pixels, you know, being, you know, revealing the art that was underneath it. And I had all these other ideas for, you know, they were using it, I felt like, in a very focused way, whereas I was like, you know, if all of these pixels could also represent just switches that do things, you know, there's just some super interesting stuff that you can do. It just runs via instant Lightning payments that involves, you know, real world actions that happen immediately. There is like a whole industry that could benefit, or that could come out of kind of that sort of type of utility, you know, blockchain switches that are instantaneous through Lightning. But beyond that, you know, again, with all the data and everything, 5 seconds, you know, that's, like you said, it's faster than Visa and MasterCard. And it's like, that's the world people are used to, and here's the Web3 version of it, and it is in any way better than the legacy, other than all the ways that it's better than legacy in terms of decentralization and you know, all the rest of it. It's incredible. And so yeah, you're right. You know, we could be on the cusp of the real kind of flippening right here from what do you call it, like a remote kind of layer 2 setup of smart contracts, which is, you know, which has evolved over the last decade, versus the organic sort of version that it was meant to be.
And with content like audio, like I said, and visual, right?
Yeah, video
like
as well.
yeah, and the video, right? I think again with what you're doing and this stuff happening on something other than Lightning makes sense in terms of where we said, you know, the attribution and the actual royalty, because although Lightning allows for streaming of sats and it allows for people to tip, it doesn't.
There's no memory. There's nothing there. There's no memory there. I mean, that's the thing with Lightning. That's why it's so fast. It's beautiful and amazing at what it does. But this is the beauty of the evolution of this stuff. You know, everything finds its place, and Lightning will have its place. And there will be, like I said, there will be niche applications. It's not even going to be niche. Let's face it. There'll be a lot of applications that can utilize that. They don't need data storage. They don't need anything. But as soon as we're talking about the creative industries, a different kettle of fish. And it's like, maybe Lightning is part of that, because part of the creative process is like that Sparkshot stuff. You know, I can imagine being able to like pay to sort of perform with someone, to like play sounds at a show that you could literally do with a Lightning payment in time with a song. You know, there's kind of there's ways that you could think, okay, that can become part of a system. There's a system where the data is here on Gaia, or, you know, whatever is the good data storage system. It's then linked through a stacked smart contract, which indexes everything and allows all these, like, you know, very quick, you know, transfers and trading and DeFi and all the rest of it. But then Lightning can be part of that as well. Then there's this Lightning aspect to go on. And if there's something that you want to do with your fans that involves like creating a machine that does things instantaneously via Lightning payments, so like for instant interactions, like almost like gaming, for example, you know, via Lightning transactions that are part of a contract that involves all of these processes all together, you know, that's where this is going, which is the metaverse way, I guess. You know, everything becoming just part of multiple paths that can get you from A to B.
Yeah, and the funniest thing is, talking about it from the gaming sense, like, again, there's so many multiple solutions, or people that are trying different solutions. And one of the solutions that we had at the CoinScrum Ordinals event that we had this guy, Mohammed Zeldin, who is tokenomics head at Animoca Brands. And basically, you know, in no short sense of the word, he basically said, look, Animoca are obviously interested in all types of this technology and trying to bring it to different, but their kind of like really big effort is like a Bitcoin L3 in quotations. You know, in the sense that that's what they want to kind of build a standard for games on Bitcoin. You know, but obviously, again, it needs to be easy to use, it needs to be low fees, it needs to be user friendly, blah 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 blah. And doing all of that on even L2 might not be, you know, necessarily the way forward, though the L2s will allow for integration of other things. Having it to that level where it incorporates all of those things and all of those layer twos also, you know, and then just again to the consumer, they are just jumping onto their PlayStation or whatever and playing, right? Or spending micropayments at the same time, and that is just it, you know, like. But they, you know, he straight up said like they're looking at Bitcoin because Bitcoin is for them the ultimate finality, the ultimate security, anyway, right? So you know, it's funny that you say that, like I said about gaming, because most of the projects right now, you know, even one of the biggest projects that I still think is going to be one of the biggest gaming projects coming into this next season, because everybody's, you know, touting GameFi. One of the best looking and biggest projects that I've seen is Moonray, yeah, which they started on stacks, didn't they, right? You know, because they wanted
so what's
to build...
going on with Moonray? I mean, I remember, they piled into stacks. It was so exciting, you know. But then it was like, I think they suddenly realized and went, oh, hang on, this is like the best idea on the planet, but there's only 100 of you.
Well, it's not even just that. It was that, and then again, same kind of thing, speed issues, right?
Yeah,
So so they went over to Ethereum. They did a really successful mint on Ethereum. Do you know what, right? I'm supposed to be like beta testing, but I'm jumping between Discord accounts, right? So my other account is the one that owns the NFTs and all of that stuff, right? So it's like, okay, maybe I need to get them to change that over. But yeah, you know, I did do the early alpha test like with them, and you know, the early alpha test was really really cool. You know, they weren't doing what everybody else is doing, which is just like using like voxels or whatever else. They were, you know, they've actually like built like their own engine from scratch, like all the way up.
I mean, this was another thing that I think when they turned up, it was a little bit alien to me. Even though we'd kind of done something similar, kind of started a project. Well, certainly the names that we brought in were a little bit big for the job at hand. But when they turned up, they had this big project feel when I got into their Discord, and I felt like a little Stacks, you know, tiny community member suddenly coming into face to face with like a big city project and being really like overwhelmed by their confidence and just their number of followers and all the rest of it. And yeah, and it didn't really last that long, did it? In the Stacks community, I mean, it pretty quickly bridged out, and I was very focused on what I was doing. But yeah, I was there when they sort of arrived in this big fanfare, and then just started putting out these incredible videos of like, what is this? This just looks like traditional, you know, incredible graphics, gaming. Yeah, it looked incredible. But yeah, like I said,
and the thing is, you know what? In that last run, I only, you know, because I was doing a bitch and whatever, I was doing a bit of gaming. So I was talking on Twitch, right, to people about crypto and stuff like long before the bull run kicked off. And then as the bull run kicked off, you know, people started becoming more interested. You know, one of the Filipino gamers that used to like, you know, he just started his channel and he was building it up and he started to get quite a lot of followers. He, you know, was watching me and I was playing Nano Quake, right? So this is when I was talking to people about Nano, right? And I was like, oh yeah, Nano, oh, this is something, right? So. And they've got like Nano Quake and it works like really, really good. You know what I'm trying to say to you? Like you can just play Quake and you're just like, every time you get a kill, you're actually like getting Nano, right? So I was like, that's actually quite decent, right?
Yeah.
So I was playing it on stream and ended up talking to that guy, and he came back to me like a week later and he's like, oh, what do you think about Axie? And I said, oh yeah, it's really good, man. Yeah, like, it looks really good anyway. You know what I'm trying to say to you? Maybe I should pick some of this up for the kids or whatever, right? You know what I'm trying to say to you, right? So I was like, yeah, anyway, I'll check it back out later. And then obviously I was getting more deeper into just like focusing on Bitcoin again. So So as it was happening, he come back to me like 2 weeks later. He's like, "Oh, so didn't you get in on Axie?" And I'm like, "No." And it's like $60 or whatever, right? Right. And he's like, "Yeah, I bought loads of it at $11, right?" And then he was talking to me about like other games, right? So I was like, "Look, there's only really 2 games at this time that I had on my like top list, and I've still got them on my top list because they are both like AAA type games, right? And that is Moonray, and the other one is Illuvium, Like Illuvium also, they managed to get Epic behind them. So they just launched the other day on the Epic store, like the demo and whatever. And they did like a free wish list for Epic. So people who like had either bought their NFTs or people who were like in on it really, really early, they did this free whitelist on Epic. So they mentioned this like very early, right? And I saw the graphics, the level of the graphics and the gameplay that they were putting together, and what they were showing in terms of how the blockchain would work and how the game works and how the transactions work. And then I think they added like BSC support as well. So like it was like, okay, right, this is really good. And the only other thing that I've seen out of the gaming kind of GameFi so-called space that looks that good and operates that good is Moonray.
And so what is the blockchain element of both of those? So like do they have an instant? Do they have like a lightning-like element, like something that's instant transactions?
Well, Moonray is. I think that for both of them, the element. Well, Moonray. I know the element for Moonray is just microtransactions, right?
Okay.
At this point in time, again, I haven't had much time to really. I've just been checking in every now and again, and I signed up for the beta test, right? But Illuvium, their thing is like a turn-based game. It's like a Pokemon style game, but it's like an open world Pokemon, like the new Pokemon that I don't know if your kids have got the new Pokemon stuff, but it's pretty much like that. You can run around and buy stuff in the game. You lose a battle, you do a move or whatever that's recorded.
And what is the transaction finality? What's the speed?
They ended up going with Immutable X in the end, right, for their blockchain. So that was how they got around the kind of speed thing, right?
Okay.
And the fees, because obviously there's like really, really high fees on Ethereum, obviously, right? So, and they were saying that they didn't want to move to just Polygon, even though they've got like a working version with Polygon.
Yeah.
They didn't want to make Polygon the main thing. They wanted to kind of keep it on ETH. And, that just didn't work out. So what they ended up doing was going to Immutable X and then still having like Polygon BSC, integrations, because really and truthfully, Immutable X to me just is Ethereum, like with lower fees and much faster transaction. Well, Immutable X has got a really fast transaction, really high TPS. I'm going to say to you, but
so no one's using Lightning yet.
Well, people are using Lightning because there's Lightning for like CS:GO. They've used Lightning for a very long time. The guys at Zebedee obviously are probably leading the space in terms of the amount of different games that they've been able to connect with, in terms of Lightning-based games.
Because this is an advantage. This is where I think the advantage comes in for everyone, is that you've got that component of what you need in a game. Something there's an element that needs to be instantaneous. Maybe it's like, if you're going to say very high resolution, like bullets from a gun. Like every thing this bullet does is like finalized. If this kills somebody, it's confirmed within a tenth of a second, versus the other things that is okay to kind of up, like when you think about clearing the balance, finalizing every 5 seconds, for example, with Nakamoto. That's like less bullets, more like, okay, you've picked up an item that you're holding or something. How long does it take you to put it in your backpack? That's the time that it takes for it to be confirmed as part of your inventory. But it's like, there's just, I think that there's elements where all of these things come into play, and I think we're finally getting that point now where they start to collapse together, where they all become interchangeable, like components in code that can talk to each other. You know, once you're able to go, okay, now we've got this going through this data layer, this smart contract layer, this high frequency confirmation layer, or separate. Just think of them as separate components that can talk to each other, and you've got like the engine being the smart contract layer, but at any point it can kind of grab what it needs from these other layers, whether it's instant finality for very fast, short transactions that can still now, you know, with a combination of Lightning and say stacks and a data layer, you can have these bullets, to go back to that analogy, that are Lightning payments, the decisiveness of what every bullet does. But then when a bullet does have an outcome that involves other elements, that can then, like a, you know, waterfall down through back into a smart contract layer, which can then go, okay, and here are now the next stages that can now be recorded in places, rather than them just being just this instantaneous, yeah, that happened, yeah, that happened, yeah, that happened. Now you've got that happened, and then all of this, and that's where all of these things tie together.
Yeah, definitely.
Justin's not going to join us. We've gone for an hour and a half, but yeah, thanks for joining me, man. It's such a great chat. I meant to go through this stuff with the sequencer this week, but I guess I'll just try and start it out next week. I'm still having trouble getting the audio into Discord. It's such a shame that I just ultimately just need a mixing desk in here, and I can just put everything into a desk and just have a couple of faders and be like, that's what's going to air, and then it'll be nice and easy. But trying to do it all within whatever it's called, you know, these internal mixers. What's it called? Black hole, I think it's called. It's just, I just can't. I was trying to mix down in Logic, and then I've got to get Logic to send just to Discord so that I can then be sending. But then I got my desktop audio, which I want to then get into Discord. But then I have to send that into Logic, then into Discord, then into OBS to stream it, and it just inevitably, I end up tripping over myself. So at some point I'll just end up buying a desk. But yeah, let's do it again, man. At some point, it'd be really great to hear more if you do hear any more about Gaia, or any more interesting conversations about data, because like we've said, this is such an important thing for us to work out. The quicker we can kind of work it out, and in a way between multiple projects kind of standardize a way of dealing with something, the quicker we can all get products kind of to market.
Definitely, man. All right, well, let's remember to hit dash as well with that 3rd of January.
Yes.
Yeah, but let's try and catch up on some bits and pieces over the in between of the holidays.
Yes. Yeah. Well, have a lovely Christmas yourself.
You too, sir.
And yeah, enjoy the holidays, and then I think next year is going to be interesting, if nothing else. But I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think we could all agree on that one.
Yeah.
Right there.
Cool.
All right.
Well,
cool.
Take it easy, Nat, and I'll speak to you probably in the new year.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Take care.
Take it easy.
See you later, man. Bye. So I'll just so I'm sorry I didn't get around to playing the sequencer. It was just really great to be able to have a chat with Nat. Justin couldn't join in the end, but he'll try and come again next time. And again next week I'll probably start off, and I will try and go through this entire process of kind of starting from a blank canvas and creating a basic project, and then how to, in a really easy way, just save that project as a text file that can then be sent to someone else, and then they can load up your project and sort of start where you left off, collaboration becomes super easy, and that's the kind of off-chain element. And then the minute you've got the finished song, at that point you can inscribe those instructions condensed down into a few kilobytes of data that can then be recursively accessed, even via things like runes or the new SGX20, these types of using tiny amounts of data to recursively pull stuff together. So it's all kind of happening, and so I think sooner rather than later we're going to have some really interesting solutions. So with that, I don't even think I haven't. Let me see if I can queue something up to play us out for the week. So many old original things from early on. They're all sort of mostly they're sub 1 million. I'd say 90% of what I've got here. Just shows how quickly the price went up. There is some stuff. In one of the first shows I played. In one of the first shows I played a. Oh look! Hang on, someone's just joined in the Discord here. Oh no, they've jumped back out again. Well, it's made me lose my train of thought. Anyway, lots of early oh yeah, well I think I was getting to say that I got YouTube flagged for playing probably Billie Jean, because yeah, someone has crucified Billie Jean by just massively reducing the bit rate and inscribing it. It's a shame, because there is a kind of thing that you can do, which you can do sort of algorithmically if people were really going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to get something sounding better. Something like Billie Jean would have benefited from it, which is like using a variable bit rate changer. You know, you cut the thing into loads of different samples, and then you vary that bit rate adjustment and sort of pull that all back together again. So you end up with, because like bass, for example, you can murder the bit rate on certain bass notes, and you wouldn't be able to hear it because the amount of samples that you need to recreate bass sounds is very few. Whereas when you have to use the high sampling rate for catching those hi-hats and that's the sibilance on the top of notes, that's where you need the high bit rate. And so there are ways that you can use a varying bit rate so you could get the size of these things down rather than just murdering the entire high end by just going. But yeah, it's 5 minutes of Billie Jean, but I played that, and I also played, I think, Bohemian Rhapsody. There's a bit of that on there, so I haven't played those again since, because I don't want to get a flag. But there is some interesting stuff out there. There's some interesting... in fact, surely we can play this. There's some interesting speeches, historical speeches, and events, and this is one I'm trying to load here. Here we go. Still another early one. Inscription 128,308. Have I got that here? No. Just play it. Oh, it's just a short.
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
There is some longer ones of that. Oh, here we go. This is the longer one. Oh no, that's just the longer.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've got Apollo 11.
13, we're looking at it.
It's inscription 128,152. So yeah, there's quite a few interesting ones like that. But there's something choral somewhere. Let me find that. Maybe we'll play out with that. Again, they're kind of, yeah, it's pretty much torn to shreds. It's nearly 4 minutes of music, but you know, still interesting. Inscription 208,531. See if I can actually find it here. Is that it? No. Now I've lost where I was. Okay, let's just load this up again. So choral, this one. I'm just going to play it. I'm not going to try and find the page on on OBS. I'm just going to play it out. But yeah, thanks again. Next week I will come back and play some more with the sequencer to show people how to kind of start creating and how easy it is to save and share your work and eventually inscribe that, you know, as a song. So yeah, thanks again, and hopefully see you again next week. Cheers.